Good afternoon to Bishop Alan Marisho and his wonderful wife, Pastor Mary Marisho. This evening, I want to give God glory and praise and thanks for what He has done for me. A couple of years ago, I was in a domestic violence situation where I was living with a man. He, I had issues, a lot of issues with him. I couldn't, you know, talk to much people. I couldn't have a conversation with people, with men especially. I couldn't have a conversation with his family much, and I was living there. He always have an issue with me with people, and I'd stay with him for some years, over 16 years. And when I recognized that the situation is getting worse and worse, I decided I need to do something about it. I left where I was living with him and I went to buy my father. And within the years there, it get worse. So I continue, I continued there by my father, and up came a day I met Sister Val, and I was telling Sister Val about my situation, and she said, "Girl, we have a pastor that's go to. I will introduce it to him." And she did. She did introduce me to the bishop, and at the time I still couldn't go, but I begged the man that I was living with, and eventually he allowed me to go. And within the time that I went, I saw some wonderful things there. And I always loved church. I always loved church, going to Sunday school and all these things. But when you don't know better and you end up in a situation where you tell yourself you will have a life that is blessed, but mine was not like that. I was living like in prison with a man, and anyway, within the invitation of Sister Val, I end up in the church by Bishop Alan Marisho, where he was in the garage. And I went there once, twice, and then the situation with the man I was living with, it wasn't good at all for me. It was fighting and hitting and kicking and coughing, and it was not good. And my life I was not comfortable. I was not happy. It had no real love in that relationship. So I was so grateful to be introduced to Bishop, and within the years that in the garage there, I start going there, and it was like, a breakthrough for me. It was a real big breakthrough for me. But although I was there, at the time, I was afraid because, you don't know where he could appear, where it was intention. Because remember, I left this man, I left this man and I went by my mother, and I started to live by my mother. And within the time I was there, she come and she died. But she was my support at the time, knowing that she given me the encouragement too, because I wasn't fully well in church. But although I knew Bishop, I wasn't fully well in church yet. But within the time that my mother come and passed away, I went back to the church. I went back there, and it's there I started grew. I started to tell Bishop about my situation. God, Bishop, this man following me all over the place. He says, Yvette, he can't kill what on there already. And that word he gave me, that word was that word was so strong enough for me to make a move in my life, and I used to go to church, but I still had fear, So I used to be watching over my shoulder in every place I go. That those days I was living in Cuba. And remember, church finishing late in the evening, or Sunday evening at church, and I had to drop out in the junction and walk 2 miles inside, I alone. But the words that Bishop gave me, Sister Yvette, you go with God, though. And he always encouraged me and gave me a word, because I'm going so far. And I used to go home and I used to walk 2 miles inside. I'm being, Cuba at that time. And I always watching to see if I see many way. Thank God, every time I drop out in that junction, somebody always there. I could have a company to walk up home, or sometimes I go by myself, I and God, and we going up the road, And he keep coming where he is, and he looking for me. But every time he come, it's because he cannot see me. Because, I used to start a prayer and say, Lord, if I up the road, let he be down the road. And when I down the road, Lord, let it be up the road, so that we will not clash together, But eventually one day, I was in Shogunas, and now jump out of a taxi, and I was coming around to get a next taxi to go home. And within the bend, I saw him standing up there with a bottle in his hand. He tell me, if you come and go with me, I will throw this acid on you. And I did take out a restraining order at the time, and I take that restraining order. I went to the police, because right around that same corner, a police vehicle was parked up there. And I walk up to the police and explain the situation. And the police, they started running down, they hold him, and they take him and they put him inside. They carry him in prison for a little month. And within that month, it was the happiest time of my life. all in church quite yet. But those days was really wonderful for me. And I went to, when I started to go back to church, we come out of prison, and I started to go back to church, I had to frightened to know where he is, where he could do me, and God really kept me, people. And Bishop, you see that man they called Bishop Alan Marisho, boy, I could never stop give God thanks and praise for that man, because he kind of, the words, boy. And I thank Sister Val too for introducing me to Bishop Alan Marisho. God have a way he does move his children from situation. And he put that man in place for me to know, hey, I am God, I'm here with you. That man can't do you nothing. Just trust me. And God, I thank God for my bishop, because that man, he gave me encouraging words of inspiration, words that could give me strength to move on and to know, hey, when no weapon formed against me shall ever prosper. And that man, the words that he gave me, oh God, Father Lord, I thank you for him. He's like a daddy, a father, a friend. We can't get nobody better than that man. We have to cherish what God gave we, and I cherish in him every little moment I can get to talk and say, hell, I am so appreciated. And I thank God for him. I thank God for the words. Because of that man, today God bless me with a husband and with children, with a home, with everything. I don't know what else to say, but I all want to say thank you, Jesus, because you have took me through so much. You took me through from a man who was running me down with a cutlass, to a man who put me in a home, to a man who taking care of me and taking care of me and my children. And I want to thank God for that. He have blessed me. He really do. And I could feel the overflow over from Bishop to me and from my family. Bishop, God will bless you, and he will continue blessing you, Bishop Alan Marisho. You and Pastor Marisho. God will continue blessing all you in such a mighty way. All the basket will be overflowing. It won't have nothing that you will ever want in this life, because God already don't give it to you. And may God bless you, Bishop. I love you with the love of God. And we always remember Sister Yvette is on the inside. God bless you, Bishop. I love you.